Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. As usual, we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. This from August the 8th, 2022. First, we got a couple of notes. Some interesting stuff going on. First, John Laurinaitis has apparently been quote-unquote quietly fired. Not quiet enough if everybody know about it. And plus, it wasn't really all that quiet as Triple H took his job about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Nothing of value was lost, really, when it comes to Johnny Ace being released. Who cares? I mean, ultimately, we already know what it's about. It got something to do with this whole paralegal. Obviously, it's not an admission of guilt as much as people have to fall on swords when this kind of stuff happens. So I'm not really surprised that they fired John Laurinaitis. I mean, it is what it is. I'm pretty sure everybody who saw this story knew John Laurinaitis was pretty much finished. You know, they was more concerned about Vince. You know, so that's kind of how it goes. Now, the next thing, Tales from the Territories, a docu-series being produced by The Rock, his wife, and the team from Dark Side of the Ring. This could be fun. This has a lot of potential. Apparently, they're going to go through the territories and tell some of the wilder, crazier stories of things that actually happen in these territories. I'm very interested in this. I don't really trust the Dark Side of the Ring crew for obvious reasons. If you're new to this channel, I don't really trust Dark Side of the Ring because they tend to get their information from unreliable sources. Let's put it like that. Which led to me to doing an entire series of expanding upon Dark Side of the Ring and actually trying to look up sources and different stuff like that through to what they said. And I really don't have the energy to do that this year. Like, I really don't have it in me. But it was a fun thing, and it actually helped my channel grow quite a bit, especially when I started doing stuff on like China and Chris Benoit and stuff like that, and Brian Pillman. But I really don't trust the Dark Side of the Ring crew. They do good documentaries, but they come to really bad conclusions. Usually because they come to the same conclusions that the audience already believed. So they're not going to go against the narrative, not too much anyway. I was surprised at what they did with the Ultimate Warrior, that they didn't absolutely bury the guy. I was actually surprised that both Warrior documentaries of the two, WWE spent most of the time on Warriors, the negativity around Ultimate Warrior. In any event, this looks very good. They're going to have some stories from people who are actually alive during that time. Obviously, there's going to be some exaggerations. A lot of the people that's going to be involved in territories are still going to be kind of kayfabe holdouts. They're not really going to want to talk about it. But you're going to have some of the guys who do shoot interviews already anyway, like Abdullah the Butcher and Bret Hart and probably some of those guys. Take into account, and I want to say this now, even though we're, 2 months away from the first episode actually airing, some of these guys are in their 60s, you know. I don't expect their memories to be the best. I expect to be some exaggerations. I expect there to be some misremembering things typical of these type of docu-series. You're talking about events that's from over 30 years ago at this point. I think the last territory died in like 1991. Like, you're talking about something that was 30 years old. So we'll see. It looks pretty good though. I will be watching it. I will be doing reviews of it. So that ought to be fun. I really enjoyed that. And The Rock is going to be involved, which ought to be really fun. As long as the muckrakers aren't involved. You know, what happened with the last season of Dark Side of the Ring was they got your boy David Bixenspan involved. And that's really that soured a lot of people on Dark Side of the Ring. Furthermore, Dark Side of the Ring also did not do as well in the ratings as they had been doing the previous couple of seasons. That's why there has been no season 4 as of yet. They also have been working on this too. So I think a lot of people are considering that Dark Side of the Ring is done and it's over or whatever. Until they actually say that it's done and it's over, it's not. But you have the same team working on another series. It's just going to take a long time for them to work on both of them. They probably just put Dark Side of the Ring season 4 on the back burner so they can work on this. I mean, this has The Rock involved in it. You probably should focus on the thing that has The Rock involved in it, right? But I do wonder if they're going to get any WWE, let's say, cooperation involved in this thing. Now, Looking at when this stuff would have been filmed and whatever, more than likely they would have had been under the Vince era, especially if the shows are about to start airing. So, and that just goes to another question of, will they be participating in this stuff in the future? Probably not. But just, something you got to throw out there. It's a new era in WWE. They're doing different stuff now. Who knows? They may actually want to participate more in these types of historical shows or whatever. I don't see why they would, but you never know. All right, so that's enough about that. The third thing, somebody wanted me to do a video talking about Sasha Banks and the plastic surgery and the pictures. I'm just going to say this. For starters, I don't think Sasha Banks had plastic surgery. Now, she didn't look like a vulture 6 months ago. And the new pictures with the multicolored hair, the green and blonde and whatever she's doing, C2E2, those pictures, she looked absolutely like she's about to dive bomb on a live rat and snatch it up and fly away with it. She looked absolutely, she had Toucan Sam hair, and she didn't look that great. But she was happy, and she seemed to be in good spirits. So it is what it is. I don't think she had plastic surgery, though. I think this is just the makeup for that particular time. I think she just wanted to not look like Sasha Banks. I think that was kind of the point here, is that she was trying to stray away from the Sasha Banks character. Now, the pictures. Some people were offended that Sasha Banks and Naomi, they took some pictures with fans with half hugs, but there's other pictures with fans that were really far apart. And some people was making the excuse that, it's still a pandemic. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is still walking around with masks on? I mean, well, never mind. It's still a pandemic. And some other people are just kind of like, hey, it might be for comfort or whatever the case may be. Monkeypox now. There's 100 reasons why we shouldn't be taking pictures with people. My thing is, I think this account, I forget who said it, but this account is probably the best way, encapsulates what I think. There has to be a better way to be safe, but also keep people within the same zip code. Those pictures were so far apart. They looked almost photoshopped. Like somebody took a picture of Sasha Banks and then somebody took a picture of this guy and then fused those two pictures together via Photoshop. Like, there's no way that guy and Sasha Banks couldn't have been in the same shot. Like, I understand you don't want the guy breathing on your neck, giving him access to your body and everything. Maybe you don't want that. We've all seen those uncomfortable pictures. They ain't got nothing to do with the pandemic or monkeypox or anything like that. Sometimes you just don't want people in your personal space, and that might just be the thing. Maybe the guy said something weird. Maybe the guy just is weird. And I saw some of them that had children. That kind of upset me because, hey, give the kid a hug. Throw your arm around them. They're paying to be there. At least pretend you give a shit. But also, they might have been there all day. So I'm on both sides of the fence here. I think it's pretty much up to the fan to be offended. If you're a fan and you're offended, sorry. It's a waste of your money. But I'm not going to be offended on your behalf, I just think that it's a tough situation because we don't know what's going on. We don't have enough information. We just got pictures. And then people were getting offended on behalf of the fans. And I just kind of felt like that wasn't the right thing to do. I don't feel like you should get offended on somebody's behalf. That's just me, though. But that's my opinion on whether Sasha Banks got plastic surgery. The answer, I don't believe so. I just think she just looked weird because of the goddamn makeup she was wearing. And the pictures being so far apart, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe she just wanted to take as many pictures as she possibly could and not, throw too much energy into them. Also, I did notice how much longer Sasha Banks' line was than Naomi. Somebody, unfortunately, posted that picture. And I was like, wow, that must feel bad. I can only hope those people already got their Naomi pictures. What do you think the likelihood of that is? All right, let's talk about Raw. Okay. So Bayley, who's also wearing weird makeup now, has started Raw. She said she wanted to breathe life into this dead division and that these people cannot possibly be excited watching Becky Lynch play dress up every week, and Bianca Belair would be nothing without her. She says she's back to bring the fire, the passion out of everyone, the hunger, something that's been missing. And she says that everybody has become too complacent. You don't know how to ask for more. You don't know how to demand more from this division. And then she says, how is she the only one who has seen what a lethal weapon Io Sky is? How could she be the only one to see the value of Dakota Sky? And of course, she botched that one. And it didn't take long before everybody got on her case about it. And Bayley, being a professional, blamed the fans for her botch and saying that the people yelling at her has been distracting her and frustrating her. And she, of course, corrected herself. That was pretty good. I gotta give Bayley some credit. That was a nice little bounce back. If you're a heel and you fuck up, blame the audience. That's good. So Asuka and Alexa Bliss came out there with Bianca Belair. They talked about the women's tag team tournament. Oh my sweet Jesus. I'm pissed about that tournament. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Essentially, Alexa Bliss said they're going to win the tournament. Her swag is gone. Her swag has just been absolutely taken out of her body, I guess. But Bianca still got swag. And she says that she wants to finish what she started with Io, but she'll deal with all three of them right now. Bayley cut her off and says, no. How about this? We have a 6-woman tag at Clash at the Castle. Bianca accepted and said that Bayley is all about control. She can keep control because right now she feels like losing it. And then all 6 of them had a big brawl to start the show, which led to Alexa Bliss, I think, jumping over the top rope onto a crowd of people, which included her partners, I believe, and knocking everybody down. It was a big fight to open the show. Not too bad. Bianca is still very good. I wonder what's going on with Alexa. Io and Asuka are just popping in saying English words, and that's kind of it. They're also not really trusting Dakota with the microphone. They're not trusting Dakota with the microphone. So she got on TV at least, but they ain't trusting her with the stick. That's for sure. Now, before we get into the tournament, the match for the tournament, which featured these women, let's talk about this here bracket, because this here bracket is garbage. All right. This shit is trash. So the tournament, Tamina and Dana Brooke versus Io Sky and Dakota Kai. I mean, so obvious, right? Asuka and Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Ash and Doudrop. We still got Nikki Ash and Doudrop. They're still here. Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah. Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah versus Xia Li and Shotzi. Now, Xia Li and Shotzi, random. All of these are very random. This is like something that you would have picked out of 2K. 2K22 or something like that. You just simulate it through your season mode, and this is what you ended up with. You ended up with Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. 2 people who shouldn't be losing. They got no business losing right now. For starters, Nikita Lyons is one of the hottest women wrestlers in the entire company. If she's not going to win this tournament, why is she in it? Second, Zoe Stark is the #1 contender to the NXT Women's title. She can't afford to lose. Unless you're telling me she ain't going to win, then why would I bother watching NXT? Come on, Daddy H. You got other people you could use. You don't have to put Nikita Lyons or Zoe Stark or Raquel Rodriguez in this tournament. Everybody else, fine, whatever, do your thing. But those 3 need to be taken out of this tournament. And the final team is Dag Blasted Natalya and Sonya Deville. God damn it. Natalya and Sonya Deville. Look, I love Sonya Deville. I really do. She's fantastic. Natalya, though, of all the people we're kind of downgrading, why we still got Natalya? Why is she still around? I mean, we can't, you don't have an NXT or NXT UK or somebody we could have partnered up with Sonya Deville and taken her under her wing as a protege or something. Like, this would have been a perfect time to do something like that, where some dastardly villainous heel lady like a Lacey Evans or something like that, takes some young chick from NXT and throws her arm around her and say, just listen to me, kid, and we'll be tag team champions. And that's kind of their story going into this. That could be perfectly fine, especially if you don't got nothing for them any other time. It's great to just take them and make them mentors for somebody else, because then it becomes a natural story later when they can, turn and face each other. But Natalya and Sonya Deville, ugh. Just, ugh. But, of course, everybody was upset that there was no Toxic Attraction. That led a lot of people to believe that Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark are probably going to get taken out and replaced with Toxic Attraction, which very well could be the case. But in any event, if they beat Natalya and Sonya Deville, that's not good, because Sonya Deville loses. But they can't lose either. So I don't know. I hate this tournament. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I cannot stand what they did with this tournament. Basically because it's a bunch of people I don't care about. I don't care about 90% of this roster. And the people that I do care about, for Christ's sake, they're in the tag team division. I love Io Sky. I guess that this is a good place for her because this fits her storyline at least. I love Raquel. They've been doing good shit with her. I get that you don't have anything for her as a singles right now. Put her in a personal feud. Build her a personal storyline. Let's do that. Why is she in this tag team with Aaliyah? That's just begs that she's going to fucking lose again. Or you're going to beat Shotzi again, which is not fun. Not for me anyway. I don't know, man. I'm just saying this would have been a perfect time to utilize more NXT talent. Indy Hartwell probably could have fit in perfectly here. Somebody like that. But this tournament it's egregious. It's not good. Not good, man. Daddy Trips is he's not doing a good job. I got more for him, because me and Triple H, we got some beef. We got some serious beef over some shit that he did tonight. We'll get to it. So in its first round of the tournament, Dana and Tamina had a promo backstage. At least they did this right, where Dana Brooke says she wants to be a double champion, and the whole time she's been champion, there has been one person who has been her rival chasing her around, and that has been Tamina. And she welcomes Tamina's partnership in order to try to win this double championship. They get interrupted by Bayley and her group by saying that you can keep your little title. The 24/7 belt's still there, because we want championships that suit us, which is an interesting way of burying that title. And then said that the reason it suits us is because I was the first one with it. Then Tamina said that she's going to take Bayley and her friends out of this tournament. And then we got what was probably, no, not probably, I need to use my words correctly and be more precise. This was the longest Dana Brooke match in the history of our fucking universe. Not the WWE universe, I mean the real universe. I'm talking like since the Big Bang, or if you're a Christian, since evolution began. It ain't no mystery that you don't give Dana Brooke this much time. All right? Triple H, this match felt like 40 fucking minutes. I'm pretty sure it wasn't 40 minutes. But this match felt like long as fuck. This match felt like Avatar by itself. This match felt like I was watching all three Godfathers back to back to back. This match wore me the fuck out. Why on earth would you give Dana Brooke this much time? Who told you to look at Dana Brooke, look at her body of fucking work over the last 4 or 5 years and say, 15 minutes? What? Tamina, 15 minutes? Oh, I'm trying to get my girls over. Fuck you. Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh, Jesus H. This match was so long. Jesus, match was long as shit. Just to get to the predictable finish of Io Shirai and Dakota Kai winning. I was like, Jesus, what the hell? Why did we do this? What about Dana Brooke's body of work tells you that she's some kind of workhorse? You build us up to the workhorseness of Dana Brooke. You don't just throw that shit on us. I mean, come on. Come on, man. That's like somebody all of a sudden deciding Carmella deserves to be in an Iron Man match. Oh, you didn't know? Carmella's a workhorse now. Like, no, she's not. No, she's not actually. You don't do that. You don't do that. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. It doesn't mean you should. This is something you definitely should not do. All right? This is one of the things on the should not do list. You can do it. You're not going to get arrested. You probably should get arrested for it, but you're not going to get arrested for it. Stop being an asshole. All right? Later, Nikki Ash and Doudrop said they're going to be one step closer to the tag team titles. I was heaving. It was nice that Nikki was a bridesmaid at Tay Conti's wedding. That was very nice. Doudrop, she was present. She was just there. It's supposed to be talking about repackaging stale ass T-bar. I'm like, what the fuck are you repackaging that guy for? I mean, look, no matter what you do to white bread, it's still white bread. You can slather it in butter, slather it in jam. You could toast it. You could burn it. You could do it. You could put it on a sandwich. You could do whatever you want. You could rip it up into little pieces and feed it to a baby or throw it to the ducks or whatever. It's just still white bread. No matter what you do to Donovan Dijakovic, he's fucking boring. And I've been saying that for 2 years, 2.5 years. There ain't no fucking saving that guy. And Triple H trying to come in and throw life jackets to all these fucking bums like Dijak. That shit's gonna piss me off. That fucking guy needs to be on the outside of the company. All right? If all he can do is work rate shit, I'm not interested. I called this when I was in NXT. I wish I had one of those fancy channels where I can link videos. Matter of fact, I'll put this shit in the comment section if I have to. Donovan Dijakovic is boring as fuck. Why would you ever repackage him? Repackage Doudrop, please. Repackage Nikki Cross, please. They have histories of being entertaining. Doudrop can be entertaining. Her accent's a little annoying. Same thing with Nikki, but they can be entertaining. You can go back to Nikki Cross. We're going back. We're putting everybody in the lake of reincarnation anyway. Dunk fucking Nikki and Doudrop into the lake of reincarnation and bring them back as something else. Get rid of this Nikki ass shit and this Doudrop nonsense. Get rid of it. So Alexa Bliss and Asuka, they did their whole nobody is ready for Asuka, and Bayley interrupted and said, well, what if nobody cares? And I was like, ooh, you got a nasty attitude, young lady. I forgive it because you got a dump truck, but you got a nasty attitude. So that was the Women's Tag Team Championship division. I was so excited for the Women's Tag Team thing. I don't know why I did that. Why did I do that to myself? Because apparently Triple H intended to make me look like a fucking idiot. So there that go. I look like a moron. He put fucking Dana Brooke in a 20-minute match. Man, why would you do that shit? That's like, I guess it was almost as bad. Maybe not as much of a waste of money, but this is almost as bad as when Marvel decided to make the Inhumans a TV show. It's like, oh, really? Just because you can, you're just going to start doing dumb shit? Okay, all right, go ahead. It's your money. Like, I felt the viewers draining away the longer this fucking match went. This wasn't good in terms of making Io and Dakota Sky look good either. I'm fucking their names up. Who cares? Who really cares? Who gives a shit? All right, what was next? Let me look at this thing. Seth Rollins. Okay. So Seth Rollins defeated Angelo Dawkins. This was a pretty good match. They did something very weird with Montez Ford, where he was actually being a distraction for Seth Rollins. He started, having a seizure outside of the ring, just kind of shaking and, doing all kind of boogeyman shit. And everybody's kind of like, oh, Tez is so funny. I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why is he doing that? And later, he slid into the ring because, of course, Seth Rollins was cheating. He got baited. And he ended up getting himself ejected. The crowd didn't know how to respond. Like, some of them booed. Other people was kind of like, yeah, he's in the fucking ring. Why is he in the ring? Get out of here. Very weird decision to put a babyface in. But Angelo Dawkins had a pretty good showing. You know, he showed his agility early with some nice little tumbling and some handsprings. He hit a nice little pounce outside the ring and knocked Seth Rollins over the announce table. It was very cool. He got pinned by a pedigree, which was interesting because Seth Rollins almost never beats anybody with a pedigree. Hell, he even rarely even uses it now. And he stomped him after the match. Montez Ford came down there to chase him off, but the damage was done. Unfortunately, we weren't done. Well, I shouldn't say unfortunately. I should say fortunately. We were not done with Seth Rollins for the evening. Now, it was announced that Riddle is going to have an exclusive interview next week. An exclusive, as if somebody else is going to get the interview and not WWE. And I'm sure, you know, it's going to be like Championship Wrestling from Florida or some shit. Anyway, Seth Rollins was upset about being asked Riddle questions. He don't want to talk about Riddle. Then he mocked Riddle, saying, dude, bro, Randy. Then, which everybody laughed at. Then he kind of buried himself a little bit by saying he's the gatekeeper of this industry. And if you think you're any good, you have to go through him. I'm like, that's not a good idea. You should want to be the pinnacle of the industry. You don't want to be the gatekeeper. You don't want to be that, but whatever. He says that Riddle has a lot of potential, but he's good at flushing potential down the toilet. If you don't believe him, ask Dana White. I was like, that was mean. That was mean. I bet Riddle was at home like, that was funny, bro. I'm going to run my knee into your jaw, bro. I'm going to beat you up for a shoot, bro. He says that he's going to Cody Rhodes Riddle's ass if he don't retire. And I thought that was great because Seth Rollins, really good at what he does. Good match, good promo, a little long with the match, but you know, wasn't terrible. Angelo Dawkins got to show off what he can do and actually show off that he lost a little bit of weight. He's getting into some shape. So much respect for Angelo Dawkins. Mucho respect. All right. So Edge and the Mysterios. This was the best shit of the evening. So Edge comes in and he's happy that Ray is still there. Ray thanks him for the save last week. Everything's great. Those two, good terms. Edge then turns his attention to Dominik and says, look, I didn't mean to spear you last week. You know, are we cool? And Dominik was like, yeah, we're cool. And then he shoved him, which means he's certainly not cool. And he tried to get in Edge's face, but his daddy was there and was like, no. Still Dominik. No, it's not like that, man. It's not like that. And he tried to explain that he's known Edge for 20 years. They've been best friends, tag team champions. We're talking about history now. And then I know this man for 20 years. And then Dominik's like, but you know me for 25. I can't believe you're taking his side. And stormed off. And I was like, whoa. Okay. I figured this is exactly how I figured it was going to go, you know. Little microwaved, but okay. At least it's going in the direction that we wanted to go in, so I can't complain too much about that. So later, Ray is looking around for Dominik, can't find him. He called him, he won't answer. Dom ain't talking to Ray. This is not good. Edge reiterates that he's willing to come ringside to help Ray in this match, to watch his back, and Ray's like, no, my son will be there. It's going to be okay. So he goes to have the match with Finn Balor. Finn Balor starts the match after his entrance with a promo. What he says that the Mysterios and Edge seem to think that they should fear them. He says Dom already abandoned them, so why should he fear them? And then said that fear isn't real, that it's a product of your imagination. He says danger, Dot is real. I am the danger. Then, all right, okay. I liked it. I like Finn Balor. I really do. His material is not bad. Okay, very good. Damian Priest got the microphone. Says that tonight he could lay Edge out if he wanted to, but he wants to wait. He says in 2 weeks in Toronto, because Edge hasn't wrestled in Toronto in 2 years on Raw. He challenged him to a match on Raw in Toronto in 2 weeks. And said he's going to lay him out in front of his family and in front of his friends, and he's going to end him. And I was like, okay, We're actually building a match 2 weeks from now. I can't believe it. That means somebody is actually engaging what we like to call longer term booking. It's just 2 weeks. It's just 2 weeks, but better than most. You know, WWE rarely used to book things a week or two in advance. So this is a good start. The match between Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio was very good. Of course, it couldn't be nothing but good. It was Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio. Rey ends up losing because Dominik, being who he is, has been mauled by Rhea Ripley. She comes out with him draped over her shoulder like a sack of laundry. She then dumps him on the floor. He's covered in blood and his shirt's torn, which I think is a phenomenal touch. Because we actually get to see people looking beat up and in danger at this point. Dominik is like, no, me son, no. And he gets beat up by Finn Balor and coup de grace pinned. Edge did not come out, despite the fact that it would have been a good babyface thing to do. He didn't come out because Rey did not want him out there. You know, he said it twice. I don't need you. My son will be there. And Edge gave Dominik that chance, and Dominik was out there covered in blood with a torn shirt. Apparently, he got beat up by Rhea Ripley. He's just continuing the story of this guy just can't handle Rhea Ripley. So it is what it's. He got beat. He got ripped apart by a badger. But in any event, it was great. The Judgment Day loomed over Dominik. Rey did a great job of selling his. Not losing, but selling his concern for his son. He reached out like, me son, help me son, me boy. And Dominik, selling the beat down. They went back to the trainer's room, let Dominik sell it some more, and Rey was definitely concerned. I like this. I thought this was very good. I thought this was the best, most logical stuff that they put together in a long time. This Mysterios and Judgment Day thing is improving by leaps and bounds. This has been very good. I've enjoyed this. Next, Miz and Ciampa. Miz basically says that Ciampa got the last laugh out of AJ Styles. Then Ciampa was passed the microphone, to which he said that people are looking for something to believe in. You should believe in Ciampa. He said, you know who believed in Ciampa? Harley Race. And today is 3 years to the day that Harley Race passed away. And since Harley Race was his mentor, saw something in him, groomed him to make him what he is today, he's going to dedicate this match to him. He then said, when Lashley looks into my eyes, he will feel my sacrifice and realize he's already lost. And I was like, oh boy. And then later they showed Big Bad Bob backstage, and he was trying to get loose. He was loosening up. And I was like, oh boy. So they showed the Legacy of the United States Championship video again. It's fantastic. Perfectly fine with them showing it again. This incorrect information that Harley Race is the first United States champion. No, it is not. I told the history last week. I'm not going to do it again. But maybe they're counting, I don't know, at a certain time, And I'm thinking that's what it is. They're going to count since Harley Race won it. I don't know. Why would they do that? Why would they ignore all the champions before that? Yes, there was a lot of people complaining about this whole history thing, and all the dweebs are out there like, WWE is acknowledging the rich history of pro wrestling. This is such a refreshing take. And I was just kind of like, oh boy, what the fuck? Because my thing isn't, you're trained to ignore history. It's like, that's bullshit. My thing is, it's not really relevant. Secondly, who's the babyface? I mean, Tommaso Ciampa is, dedicating this match to his mentor. That's something a babyface would do, right? And then he comes out and he's wearing Harley Race's robe. And I'm just kind of like, okay, why is he doing this? Why is he cosplaying Harley Race? Are we trying to get over Harley Race, or are we trying to get over Ciampa? Is Ciampa a babyface, or is Ciampa a heel? This is why you don't do this stuff. I got on Tony Khan when he did this shit. Triple H needs to understand, you're supposed to be trying to sell people on Ciampa, right? get people to buy into Ciampa, who Ciampa is. We can say that he was trained by Harley Race, but we can say that and not go overboard. Again, the general audience, the average WWE audience, I'm not talking about TV, I'm just talking about the average person who watches this show. I think the average age is like 15 or 12 or 11 or something. What the fuck do they know about Harley Race? How does that inform them of who Ciampa is? It's just on commentary. Harley Race is one of the toughest guys in history. It's like, okay, you should be able to say that about any fucking wrestler. You know, former NWA world champion. Yes, you can say that about not any wrestler, but most fucking wrestlers now, fucking world champions. You know, it's like we're putting over Harley Race. All right, fine, but we should be putting over Ciampa. We should be putting the focus on Ciampa. We should be telling people who Ciampa is, what he is. Instead, we're getting him good guy, babyface pops, because there's a section of the audience that are really into this whole history buff Triple H stuff. It's like, I don't necessarily need that. I really don't need that. And, it just seems out of place. And it doesn't seem to have helped Ciampa get over, but I guess at least give him something to talk about. Now, the match itself was really good, as I expected that it would be. Ciampa utilized a lot of Johnny Gargano moves in this match, like the Gargano escape and the one final beat. And he basically was trolling people who thought Johnny Gargano was coming in. So that was nice. Miz, of course, was aiding Ciampa with the distractions and pulling the foot on the ropes and stuff like that. AJ Styles ran out there and they fought off Miz and AJ. Basically, AJ chased the Miz all around the building, essentially. And then they led us to believe, they told a good, dramatic story of Ciampa could possibly win this match. And I can tell you, I'll admit it, I was on the edge of my seat thinking that Ciampa was going to win. I had one in the chamber for Triple H if he had changed this title. I had one in the chamber for him. But he did the smart thing. Ciampa got put in the hurt lock and he was defeated. All right. Now we can rebuild Ciampa up properly and tell better stories with him and actually get him over. So now we know that he was trained by Harley Race and that Harley Race saw something in him and saw his potential and all that kind of stuff. That's very cool. Connecting him with a legend, cool, but it only helps if the people know about that legend and have strong feelings about that legend. Part of the reason why people are not really going to have strong feelings about Harley Race is because not only would you have to be a certain age to know who Harley Race really is, but he's not really a WWE legend. He's an NWA legend. I think the Triple H realized that this is a WWF product that he's booking here. Like people know who Ric Flair is because Ric Flair's been on TV for 50 fucking years, but he's also been in the WWE for 20 years. Harley Race, not so much. Like he wrestled a couple of matches in the 80s. And then, disappeared off the face of the earth in terms of WWE. And I think the next time people saw him, he was getting spit in the face by Randy Orton. And then after that, I don't know what else he did. So it's like you're asking a very young audience, which should be your target audience, to really buy into this Harley Race thing. And it's a nice little nod because I know Triple H loves Harley Race. But this came across as very NWA to me, mainly because NWA just did this shit. They just did a storyline with Trevor Murdoch, dedicating his match to Harley Race. And Harley Race trained me and he saw something in me and I'm a good old country boy. And everybody, I don't look the way a wrestler is supposed to look, but I'm very tough and I drive a pickup truck and all that shit. They did this already, And that's kind of what I was feeling like. I just kind of felt like, yo, why am I looking at Ciampa? He's coming across as Trevor Murdoch. It's not a good idea. I mean, he should be Ciampa. Especially if we want to do the NXT Ciampa, because they're putting everybody in the lake of reincarnation. We should probably put Ciampa in the League of Reincarnation. I like this match, though. The match is very good. But because Miz and AJ Styles fought backstage and they were continuing to fight backstage, they had to be separated by officials. The main event was made no disqualification. Miz versus AJ Styles. Match was fine. Cleveland was a little bit more into it than usual because the Miz is from Cleveland. So Ciampa saved Miz from losing, but a really cool spot where Miz threw AJ off the table over the barricade, which was a pretty good spot. AJ wins the match ultimately with the Styles Clash, and all is right with the world except for there was 2 minutes left when Raw ended. And I was like, okay, what chicanery are we about to pull here? And AJ Styles is, of course, posing to the fans, and there's a ruckus in the first row. And I'm like, okay, what bullshit is Triple H about to pull here? My eyes is very bad. Like, I have really poor vision. But I was even able to see, I'm not sure if it was security or if it was police, even I saw Dexter Lumis. But I think he was sans mustache. Can anybody confirm that Dexter Lumis still had his mustache? Because if he's sans mustache, that's going to be a problem for me. All right? He's a weirdo. He needs to have a mustache. Now, usually I would bury a mustache. Like, I buried Dante Martin's mustache because he looked like a fucking moron with a mustache. But sometimes you got that big, thick Scott Hall mustache, like when he was in the AWA, or a Magnum PI, or a Magnum TA mustache. All right, I'll let it go. Dexter Lumis probably should have a mustache. All right? Not really a big fan of the mustache, but Dexter Lumis probably should have a mustache. An interesting thing to not have him get into the ring and be seen, but instead to tease him and have him be restrained by security, and for AJ Styles to be like, what the hell is going on out there? And the camera didn't pick it up completely. A good shot where it's over AJ's shoulder. So AJ is looking and you're kind of looking. AJ's looking in that direction, and that makes you look in that direction. And it makes you easier for you to see, like easier for you to notice. They did something interesting earlier with Doudrop and Nikki, where they were in the shot when it came to Kevin Owens. Like, Kevin Owens was cutting a promo, and you could see Nikki and Doudrop, in the back, and they like the car had been tampered with or something like that. And I was kind of like, wait a minute, like, there's little stuff like that you can see now that they're actually adding into the show in the backgrounds. But I wouldn't necessarily do that. That's too layered. You should be wanting to focus on getting people to focus and absorb information that you're putting through the screen, not necessarily hiding shit, from them in the back. Like, it's nice little Easter eggs for people who are paying attention, but you also don't want people to watch the show and then completely miss shit because, they looked away for a moment or they sneezed or something like that and they didn't see it. But the Dexter Lumis thing, it went long enough where you definitely saw it. If you were looking to see it, you definitely saw it. It wasn't like AJ was looking at the hard cam and it was over his shoulder and you couldn't see it. You certainly could see it because AJ looked. So you looked if AJ looked, So that was very good. Now, them bringing back Dexter Lumis, Triple H going back and reclaiming a lot of his old toys. Look, Dexter Lumis is perfectly fine. He's not one of the guys I would have brought back personally. I think he ran his time out. I'm also not sure what you do with that character, and that's not going to get him banned from one of your networks. Like, Dexter Lumis is a character that works if he's stalking people, that works. He could be like a serial killer. But the moment you do it like a woman or something like that, it's going to be a big problem. And I think it'd probably be a lot more effective if he did it on women. Which probably should be a cool storyline for like one of these young ladies, like for Alexa Bliss or something like that. She got stalkers all the fucking time. Like, imagine if you'd have did that with Dexter Lumis, where he was more of an Alexa Bliss stalker. Like, he wears her shirt and he's standing in the crowd staring at her. And, it's like she's dealt with stalkers for a long time. So, like, bringing that into the storyline, oh, it'd have been so uncomfortable. Like, yeah, that's the point. We're supposed to be going gritty here. But having Dexter Lumis be a guy that got removed from ringside was interesting because now I'm like, all right, what are they doing? And that's a good way to end the show on. You could end the show like with Karrion Kross, they'd be like, oh, hell yeah. But you could also end the show and be like, oh, I'm intrigued. What are you doing? What do you got planned? Now, I'm not thrilled about Dexter Lumis. Again, I'm not the hugest fan of him. But I don't hate the guy. I don't dislike him. I thought he did a good job in NXT. So, I'm all for it. I'm all for his existence. I don't want him to get aborted or anything like that. So, good. Next, Ezekiel, who we hadn't seen in a while, he popped back up and Kevin Owens comes into the ring and absolutely destroys him. He had the audacity to be entertaining and Triple H doesn't like that. Instead, he wants Bubba Ray King Kong Owens. So Owens powerbombs him on the barricade. They do a stretcher spot. And I was like, well, I guess we're stuck with this fucking guy. Later, Kevin Owens cuts a promo and says that Ezekiel doesn't know who he is. Okay, this is going to be really poor English. Ezekiel doesn't know who he is, but Kevin Owens, he knows exactly who he is. And since there's more eyes on this show than ever before, tonight was the perfect night to remind people that this is still the KO show. And I damn near threw up. I mean, besides the fact that this fucking guy just main evented WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So it's not like he was being misused or whatever. Now, he was kind of doing a silly thing with Ezekiel, and I'm perfectly okay with us separating ourselves from that. If you want to write Ezekiel off, okay, but why? Evolve the character instead of we're just going to get rid of it. And then to do what? Send him back to being Elias again? Again, just throwing people back in the lake of reincarnation thinking you can do what has already been done. It's like we've already done Elias. Like we had something different here that was actually over, that people actually enjoyed. Why fucking get rid of it? I mean, when people, hey, look, we used to say this, Vince is fucking with something that works. Ezekiel clearly works. You want to try to establish Kevin Owens by having him destroy a guy that he was in a feud with? Perfectly fine. But we really should have Ezekiel come back stronger and, beat the tar out of Kevin Owens. That's really what we should get. And that's probably not what we're going to get. And then if we got to wait for this fucking guy to grow his beard back, he's going to be gone for another 6 fucking months. Because that beard, that gnarly beard he had as Elias, it took him a long time to grow that. So my hope is that he's not coming back as Elias, but he's going to come back as some different version of Ezekiel, hopefully. Where he can actually evolve that character. If that's the case, I will eat crow and say this is actually not bad. But if this idea is to just get rid of him because, well, he's not an indie mark and a good enough, even though he did work in the indies, he wasn't from Ring of Honor, so he doesn't get a premium spot on TV. And all he did was get over anything that you asked him to do. I mean, how dare he? It's not like, he was on TV for years and wasn't over like, T-Bar or Donovan Dijakovic or whatever. He wasn't even over in NXT, by the way. He fucking sucks. In the description or in the comment section, whatever I feel like doing. He fucking sucks. He remains one of the worst things about NXT Black and Gold. He fucking sucked. All right, back to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, everybody thinks he's going to go back to the prize fighter. Doesn't seem like that to me, because I don't think the prize fighter would do KO show. That seems to be main roster Kevin Owens. And also he was laughing after, Ezekiel got stretchered out. The Kevin Owens from NXT was a little bit more soulless and a lot more focused. And I will say that was very good. That was a good time for Kevin Owens, but that was also 7 years ago. It's like, it's the Tony Khan syndrome. It's like, all right, that was great, but that was 10 years ago. It was 20 fucking years ago. All right. It was, like Edge is trying to reincarnate his character and do different stuff. And he's trying to put Kevin Owens back into the fucking bottle that he broke out of. It's like, why are we doing that? Instead of, again, evolving his character. Now, if they're going to do that, then this rant means nothing. But if they're going to try to make him what he was, which is what the internet seems to think, then this is all for naught, because he can't be what he was. You know, you can never be who you were. You can only be a better version of yourself tomorrow, you know. But I didn't hate Kevin Owens in NXT. He wasn't there that long, you know. So, and I don't mind, you know, a bruiser who wants to put people in the hospital. I like that. But I think that if that's the direction they were going to go in, we should have gone with the more catatonic Kevin Owens, where he wouldn't have smiled, wouldn't have sold it. He just stared at it. Like Bubba Ray Dudley. You know, he go into that trance. He just stare. That's why I call him Bubba Ray Owens. You know, because he used to get into this almost catatonic state of emotion after he did something evil to somebody. So it was fine for what it was in terms of Kevin Owens destroying Ezekiel. Didn't have a problem there. I only had a problem with Ezekiel getting destroyed because I like Ezekiel. What the fuck, you know? You know, like, I don't mind Ezekiel. So, Omos defeated two job guys. It was a complete waste of time. Chad Gable and Dolph Ziggler also was a complete waste of time. This match was cold as fuck and was long as fuck. Again, look, at least Dolph Ziggler, you can look at his resume and say, Dolph Ziggler, oh yeah, he brings his working boots every fucking week. You could put Dolph in there with anybody and it'd be a good match. You had a hell of a match with Chad Gable tonight. The problem was this match was cold as hell and it was long as hell. You won nothing, you lost nothing. Why was this match so fucking long? You know, this match was too long. Oh no, Dolph Ziggler is in his hometown. Look, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Chad Gable should not be. Look, Chad Gable was great. Chad Gable is entertaining. He's funny. He's a really good wrestler. I enjoy the grappling back and forth between him and Dolph. I'm not saying it was a bad match. I'm saying the match was too long. You know, there are some other things we could have fit into this show. But they decided to give Dana Brooke 45 fucking minutes. And then they decided to give Chad Gable 15 minutes. It's like, bruh. Time. For fuck's sake. You know, like, come on. You know, we could have fit some other guys on this show for what you did, what you're doing here. There's nothing wrong with a 6 to 8 minute match, bro. It doesn't have to be 10 to 15, 10 to 12 minutes. It don't have to be. You know? And if you're going to do that, at least do that with a story, you know? And I didn't feel a story going into this match, even though it was built off of what took place last week. It wasn't like they cut promos on each other or anything like that. And then I didn't feel any storyline coming out of this match. It's like, okay, now Ziggler has beaten up Chad Gable and he ran away from Otis. So what, next week he's going to spend 12 minutes in the ring with Otis? Oof. Good Lord. Good Lord have mercy. Can these people talk? Can we do something? I'm not saying we got to go back to doing these silly skits that Vince loved doing, even though I wouldn't mind one at this point. You know, like just Triple H being in control for 2 weeks. I'm like, these matches are getting longer and longer, and the character stuff and the storyline stuff. Some of it is tightening up, which is good, but there's other stuff where it's just kind of like, bruh, I could have used a pick me up. I could have used a funny segment or something just to have something for everybody on the show. You know, somebody should get hit in the face with a pie rather than you giving Dana Brooke 15 minutes. Look, that's the thing, Vince. Vince knows nobody wants to watch Dana Brooke wrestle for 15 minutes. Nobody wants to get hit in the face with a pie either. But which one are you more likely to be entertained by? I'm far more entertained by somebody getting hit in the face with a pie than I am about Dana Brooke wrestling for 15 minutes. I think Vince was smart in that way. In his simple trailer park way of understanding the average person. He knows nobody wanted to see fucking Dana Brooke for 15 minutes. And I think in our heart of hearts, you know that too. You probably just don't want to say it. And I get it. You know, Vince is the devil. I understand that. But that doesn't mean he's wrong. Shit. Sometimes the motherfucker ain't telling you no lies. You know, like, he put together this roster. Some of them are not wrestler guys, you know, for a reason, which is why you can look at what Triple H is doing and trying to basically put all the wrestlers in position. And it's like, fuck that. We need some entertainment people here, because it ain't going to take long before people are like, okay, the new regime is just going to be 15-minute matches between guys I don't care about, and they going to bamf, Nightcrawler, poof, just get the fuck out of here, right? It's going to disappear. And I don't want that to happen. There's only so long you can do the who's coming back surprise shit. Tony, again, learn from Tony Khan. Tony Khan tried it. Paul Heyman tried it. People have tried that who's returning, who's coming back. Surprise me, boss. That shit does not work in the long term. In the long term, you got to have a plan for some of these people. And if you don't got a good plan for some of the people who are already on the roster, especially some of the people who are already being pushed, like, again, there's no Theory. Somebody told me that Theory's uncle passed away. Okay, fine. We still could have done something, you know. There was also no mention of Cody. They've been on mention of Cody in 2 weeks, you know. So, like, what's going on? We was doing all kinds of stuff with Cody. We were showing, like, he was cutting promos about, you know, his shoulder and everything, and how everything was going to work out, and, you know, how he's going to come back strong. They stopped doing that. I mean, I guess they want to take him off, so, you know, we'll be surprised when he comes back. But it's like, rather not. I'd rather, you know, build up some anticipation and show me a little bit of his training or what he's been up to or whatever. And maybe they'll get around to that. They seem to also be doing a cycle where they're going to cycle people in and cycle them out. Where it seemed like it was Ezekiel's and Almas and all those guys, their time to be in. And it was Mustafa Ali's opportunity to sit out. You know, okay, so maybe they'll be on TV next week. All right, fair enough. But I still think you still could have fit one or two of those guys on TV if it shrunk Dana Brooks' match. I mean, you could have cut it down to 4 minutes, you know? I mean, who really would have noticed? You, me? I mean, come on. It's a little bit more cheddar on the pizza. That's all. So it was another quarter hour you could have added to your show where you could have put somebody else on there who probably could have made you some money, or at least cut a promo and made people entertained and did something fun, you know? But it's been refreshing to get away from some of the comedy and some of the excess that Vince was leaned too much into. At the same time, though, we are also dealing with an excess of matches between people where we know the obvious outcome, and I don't see a reason why we need to have matches that are cold with obvious outcomes go so long. If you want to have top matches that you sold people on, which would be your Ciampa and Lashley, all right, that match can go long. You've been promoting that match for a week. That match can go long. You want to have Seth Rollins, who is super over. You want to give his match 10 to 12 minutes? All right, fine. He's over. You can do that. Dolph is over, but, you know, I probably wouldn't have given him that much time. But okay, at least Dolph is over. Dana Brooke, Tamina, Io, and Dakota, they're not over. Why are we dedicating so much time to them? You know, like, let them get over first. I don't know, man. Whatever. The Mysterios are very good. You want to have Ray versus Finn Balor, get them some time, great. You know, both of guys are over. Crowd likes both of them. You've been promoting that match for a week. It's essentially a main event match, even though it wasn't at the close of the show. You know, I don't have a problem with Miz and AJ Styles. I just wasn't interested in it. And I felt like they didn't really do a good job of building it up, especially if it's going to be the main event, you know, putting it on at the very, very end. It's like almost like, you know, you're sacrificing the third hour. That's what it feels like sometimes. And, you know, Vince used to do that too. But it seems like that's the technique, is that you want to stay to the end of Raw because you want to know what happens at the end. You want to see what happens at the end. But at the same time, if you didn't watch it, it was perfectly fine. You know? So ultimately, I think Raw was not bad. It wasn't a bad episode of Raw. It's easy to digest because it's mostly wrestling. So wrestling is easy to digest. But, you know, sometimes we need a break from that shit. And I think Triple H needs to realize that. Like, sometimes we need a break from all these matches. You know, we need to do some other stuff. You know. But let me know what you guys thought about the show. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings, and I'll see you soon.